Right. Okay. So my apologies of yours witnesses here. Okay. Right. I'm just noticing here we're now live on video. Okay. Thank you very much. I apologize those who are on video here. You were not hearing me. I was just making a quick commentary on our Spaces broadcast just now that the helicopter that crashed today in Masingo is actually Munangagwa's. It's not just. It's not a mere Air Force helicopter. That's a hand Air Force. Hand yesterday. Hand goes. Ay, wait. Arisire Air Force iri bururu. Ndera ke iye wacho na iye wacho. My bata. Helicopter iyi ndeyake iyeye wachona iyeye. Right. Aisiye mumwe munhu. Right, so that people can get this. Right, I'm just getting a guest here to come in so that we can follow. And by the way, the articles that we are discussing, let me just pull them up here so that people can see them. Just going to throw them here and we follow the article, as they say, article. Right, so I'm just pulling up here the article. Mova Maiwana article is now on the space there. And here we go. I'm just pulling it up here and I'm going to put one here. I'm also going to put this one on the space. This one is titled, right. Okay, so if you have got that and people have got this one as well. Okay, so here we go. It is called a helicopter. Right, not a private jet. I don't know why. Why will? But I don't know. My tongue still gets tongue twisted. But anyway, quickly, our viewers witness. So let me just bring in here Wilbert, one of our analysts, to chimp in, come in here, and we discuss this development. The helicopter is Munangagwa's own helicopter. It is not a mere Air Force jet, as was earlier on reported by various. News outlets. Okay, so here we go. Hi, Wobet. Good evening to you.
Hello, Sabah. Hello, good evening to everybody who will be listening.
Oh, thank you, Wilbert. Thank you for coming in. Wilbert, we've just been analyzing this crash, this chopper crash, and Wilbert, this is not the first chopper crash, is it? We've been having so many chopper crashes for a long time, haven't we? Especially after the coup.
Well, I don't know what is causing all this because, to be quite honest, you shouldn't have so many um, um, air crashes. Really, the flying is a very safe mode of transport, but maybe it's because of poor services. They're not being properly maintained. But if you think about it. To be quite honest, in fact, it's not only air, even on the roads as well. There's so many accidents in Zimbabwe. I think this is one area where we really need to do something about it. There are just too many accidents on the roads of in Zimbabwe, but one would attribute that to poor maintenance of the roads themselves. Because yes, many of the roads have got potholes all over. And now we've got problems in the air as well. But air should be a really safe mode of transport. And so that I agree with you. The number of accidents that we have read about is maybe uh, unacceptably high. Particularly take into consideration that there are not that many flights in Zimbabwe. Other countries have got a lot more flights per day than we probably have in a year. So why are we having so many accidents?
And Wilbert, from your background in Rhodesia, from Rhodesia, because Wilbert, you are a bit older here. You did taste a large part of Rhodesia. In fact, all of what Rhodesia was, right, from '65. If I was
Yeah.
to ask you for an opinion, Wilbert, on your overview of these chopper crashes since 1965. Jumping across the Mugabe days, how would you rate our air safety? I mean, you've talked about the roads. We will leave the roads for today. Nasi trukudira the air transport, particularly the chopper air transport, because this is not the first Munangagwa chopper incident. There was another time when I think it should be the very same chopper, but it definitely had the same color. It once crash landed, and Munangagwa had to take another one somewhere in between Kwekwe, somewhere on Chegu to between Kwekwe and Harare. He was flying from his farm somewhere and going into Harare. And then the other chopper had to pick him up. And which suggests to me that there seems to be a recurring. Zugrambas chungoitika. Let's flush back into Rhodesia. 1965, 75, 80, 85, 90. Are we seeing here, and could we be seeing Munangagwa's name being manifest in reality? I mean, the embodiment of who Mnangagwa is, what his parents called him. Vakamuti Dambutsu, so yeah, did it?
Mhm.
I'm sorry for using that term, Wilbert, but he actually mentions in a video, he says his mother gave him a name called Tlupeko in Ndebele, right? And then soon after that, his father comes and he gives him another name in Shona, calls him Dambuzo. And he says he didn't want this name. He doesn't want this name. So he had to go into a library one day when he was studying and he saw in a book the name Emerson. So he decided, this is going to be my name. I don't want the name Hlupeko. I don't want the name Dambuzo. And then he says, look, don't call me Hlupeko. Right. But my point is, could we be seeing what this man saw, what this man's parents saw when he was growing up, from childhood here, dambuzo throughout. Like we're just moving from Hlupeko to dambuzo, and trapped between. Well, Zimbabwe's practically trapped between Hlupeko and dambuzo. In reality now, not just in the name.
Well, I think those we are now in the realms of speculation and superstition, and I must admit I'm
Mm.
not a specialist in that one. But to be quite honest, when you come to the number of accidents, air accidents in Zimbabwe, when you think that the number of flights in Zimbabwe have reduced considerably, that's when you realize these uh, uh, accidents are totally at odds, with what you would expect. I mean, if you think about it, for the last 20 years, particularly, the number of flights in Zimbabwe, other than the army, maybe, but even the army, I won't be surprised to find with the number of flights they've been making these last 20 years, is considerably less than it was, say, in the 1980s, 1990s. And for the civil aviation side of it, it's even more so. Air Zimbabwe has literally ground to a halt. Many other airlines that used to fly into Zimbabwe have stopped flying into Zimbabwe. And yet we still have quite a number of uh, air-related accidents. So the number is unusually high. I would agree with you there.
And what are you hearing, Wilbert? Because this is from your area, right? Kumashingo kwa kwenyu go. Look when you go. Are you hearing from your contemporary, from just generally from the community? Have you heard anything about the incident or the accident? Or it's accident,
No,
by the way.
I'll be honest with you. I haven't heard anything at all. And in this particular case, all I knew is that Mnangagwa was supposed to be at the Great Zimbabwe. to celebrate his 82nd birthday, uh, which he wants to call now Monomtapa Day. You know, that is what I've heard, and that it was going to cost a cool $2 million. To me, that was all I had, and to me, it was, again another situation where the glory of Caesars has now superseded the the good of Rome, the good of the people, because in another article, um, there was an article about Bulawayo using one of the suburbs. They're using sewage water to for their for flushing their toilets because they don't have enough water, clean water. And this is the situation here. And I think it's not only unique to Bulawayo. Most other towns in Zimbabwe, towns, not growth points, towns we're talking about, do not have clean running water. A basic need of uh, today's life. In this day and age, you still are failing to supply clean running water to the citizens. And then you spent $2 million on a birthday party. The whole idea is absurd. It really doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, but then there's also this aspect of Munmutapa, Wilbert, Mutapa Kingdom. If you looked at that, where this man is now making himself out as a Mutapa, and they even call it Munmutapa Day, and then it's also on his birthday. We have Chiwenga at one time on one of his videos saying that Mnangagwa is Munumutapa. Remember when Chiwenga was rebuking Chief Murinye and said there is only one Munumutapa, and also Wilbert, we we have also the Mutapa Fund. Remember the Mutapa Investment Fund that has
Yes,
been set up at and the headquartered at Morgan Tsvangirai's home.
right.
Yeah, through his his
Well, I think there was also talk of
saka
the
kumba
being,
katsvangirai imba yatsvangirai ikokwe kwazvona ikoko ndokakabvaisa Mutapa Kingdom Fund the offices. The company that now comprises major parastatals that have been put into all lumped into one company, headed by John Mangujga.
well, he was talking also of this Monomtapa idea soon after the SADC.
Who was talking about the Mutaba idea?
Mnangagwa, soon after he was given the chairman of SADC. He
Wow,
wanted to
I probably missed that one. Maybe you can send me because I probably missed that one. I'm really following this one with great interest. I would appreciate if you can send me so that we can really follow it well, because there seems to be something that Mnangagwa is communicating here, and something that he most likely is already doing in the region, to corrupt the entire region, the entire SADC region. Let me hear you.
well, I can't remember the details. I mean, it was one of those ideas that was being floated around that being chairman of SADC is part of this Monomotapa idea, and that he is ruling all these other SADC countries. I think there was a an audio, a video that was floating around soon after the SADC, saying that those who want to go to South Africa, you can now go because I rule. Those who want to go to Botswana, it's all part of Nomtapa.
Can you send me
So
that, please? This is quite interesting. This is another level of
well,
detail.
I don't know whether I can find it, but because it was just a statement, him boasting making a mountain out of a molehill of the SADC chairmanship. No one expected that by being chairman of SADC, you are now ruling other countries. But I think if any of the listeners kept it, I don't remember keeping it, that particular video, but I can search in some of the videos I kept. I can't remember whether I did, but I remember seeing it where he was saying, if you want to go to South Africa now, you can go. If you want to go to Botswana now, you can go, because I'm now chairman of SADC. I'm now chairman of Mutapa, as if this was a resuscitation of the Mutapa kingdom, and he was now the king of Mutapa kingdom, because I think Mutapa at the time stretched from parts of Botswana, I think, and Zambia, and even Mozambique, and parts in parts of Zimbabwe, of course. So that was the idea, and I think the whole idea is actually really ridiculous. SADC is just a regional body, and being chairman is a rotational position. Anyone can become a chairperson. Try to make it to make a mountain out of a molehill is ridiculous. And this idea of having Monomotapa Day, a holiday, what is it all about? Just because he is president now, we have got to have a public holiday on his birthday. Mugabe did the same thing. And it is a ridiculous idea. Particularly, personally, what I find totally unacceptable about this situation is that we are talking about here somebody who cannot claim to be legitimate. SADC, the AU, have all said last year's elections were not free, fair, and credible. And they were not free, fair, and credible. No Zimbabwean in their right mind could ever stand up and say, yes, those elections were free, fair, and credible. So he is illegitimate by SADC's own standards, by Zimbabwe's own standards. And yet he wants to extend his reach to the point where he is now making himself appear as if he's the paramount king of the whole SADC region, the Monomotapa being revived, kingdom being revived. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous, but this is what the problem with some of our leaders. They get big-headed. They think they are more important than the people. Instead of focusing on what is good for the country. He's spending all this money on happy birthdays, making it a big occasion. What for?
And Robert, but his opinion is different from you. His opinion, Wilbert, is that number one, he has achieved milestones as head of state, and he has normalized the country. And then at the same time, also, he is running a government that is bringing in investments. He has just modified, or shall we say, renovated or modified the airport. He's just rebuilt a new parliament. And Wilbert's Bait Bridge is now in private hands, no longer a government for the next 17 or so years. And Bait Bridge has also been renovated, by the way, Africa's busiest border. But Wilbert, this is a man who sees different from what you're accusing him, Wilbert.
Well, Simba, the main problem we have in Zimbabwe is that we have got propaganda And some of these people are failing to differentiate between propaganda and reality. The economic achievements that he keeps boasting about, why is it that we is forever boasting about this vision 2030, and yet the country, some of its men big arrows. The other day I saw a photograph of Victoria Falls Road, the potholes in Victoria Falls Road. This is a major road in Zimbabwe. Look at the Harare Chirundu Road, the same problems. And he renovates a road from Harare to Mount Hamden, to the new parliament building. Makes it 2 lanes up, 2 lanes down. And that is spread all over the papers. And we hear that this is a sign that the country is now moving forward. How ridiculous is that? Hospitals like Parenyatwa are still having problems where I was speaking to somebody in Zimbabwe the other day who were been to Parenyatwa Hospital. And they will tell you the hospital, you will not believe that this is the same Parenyatwa Hospital that we knew in 1980. That is the reality. And yet Parenyatwa Hospital is one of the referral hospitals in the country. If it is in such a sorry state, what more of these provincial hospitals? What more of the district hospitals? What more of the clinics all over the country? They're in a sorry state. I think this is, again, another situation where the regime has got the monopoly of the media. And it's using propaganda to give the impression that he has turned things around. In reality, he hasn't. Many people are going to be surprised. In fact, they should not be surprised. When you're talking of traveling, for instance, from Bulawayo to Harare, you have to see the milestones to see that you're making progress. If after 2 hours you haven't reached Gweru, then you know that you're not making progress. Because Gweru you should have been to Gweru if you're on that road. You should be able to see the various milestones to tell you, okay, you're now so many kilometers from Kadoma. You're so many kilometers from Norton. You're so many kilometers from Harare. That shows that you're making progress. He has been in power since 2017. Even if we give him the benefit of the doubt that it had nothing to do with the First Republic, the so-called First Republic, although he was one of Mugabe's chief henchmen there. But even if we give him the benefit of the doubt that he had nothing to do with it, he has been in power now for 7 years. What progress has he made? Corruption has reached new heights, nauseating heights. You simple of all people would know. You were involved in the Al Jazeera Gold Mafia documentary. The level of corruption there is absolutely unbelievable. The gold industry in Zimbabwe is worth $2 billion US. And you hear that 80% of that is being smuggled. That means the country is getting nothing from 80%. 1.6 billion is disappearing, and that's in gold alone. The same thing is happening with diamonds, lithium, platinum. The country is being sold for a song. And the man uses some of the looted wealth to build an old road there. And then when it's opened with great fanfare, so that everybody is made to believe that the country is making progress. You refer to the new parliament building costing 400
Yeah.
million.
Don't you think the parliament building is beautiful, Wilbert?
It is beautiful, Simba. But when you think about it, how much did it cost? 400 million US dollars. How much in diamonds do we lose from the looting by the Chinese in 1 year alone? That is what we are talking about here. That is small change. The Chinese did not build that parliament building out of the generosity of their hearts. They are getting a lot more by keeping ZANU-PF in power. We are the ones who are being shortchanged. How much are we losing in diamonds alone? How much have we lost over the years? The diamonds in Marange and Chiazwa, they first became, they started exploiting them in the 2006. And now we are going on to nearly 20 years. How much in real money have we lost through the looters of the diamonds alone? That is what we should be looking at. If I was the Chinese, of course I'll happily build you the parliament building and say, look what we've done for you. And if you seriously think, no, the Chinese are being generous, then I think you're missing the point completely. And I think that is what some of the Zimbabweans are failing to understand. I don't care if they're doing us a favor. Why are we not doing this in a way so that everyone can see what is happening? How much are we getting from the diamonds? Why are you making it a secret?
Wow. Wilbert, I want to try and maybe dedicate the last 5 minutes of our session just reading comments and interacting with people around this topic. So I'm just going to be popping here, and maybe you can also be responding to each person. Would you like that, Wilbert?
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure. It's just that I can't see the comments. Let me see if I can see
Okay,
them.
here we are. I'm going to be putting them so one after the other. So one after
Okay,
the
all right.
other.
Yeah.
You've got them, so you can actually read, and then maybe you can respond to those that relate to you or that you feel like you want to speak over.
Well, there is LAM who is talking about Parenya Hospital toilets were all built na Ian Smith, and it's very sad to visit your relatives in that state toilets, all filthy and disgusting. Well, that is the point we are making here. And when you look at a big hospital like Parenya Hospital, being in such a sorry state, and somebody then says he is on course to achieve Vision 2030. That's when you realize this man he lives in his own world. And I think the other important point I would like to remind the people, everybody out there, is that if we fail to hold Mnangagwa to account, i.e., to have a meaningful say in his election last year, what makes you think that even if he fails to meet that 2030 vision, you can finally hold him to account? You'll be able to vote him out of office. The answer is no. This is why he's forever. He doesn't want you to have free, fair, and credible elections now, because he's saying, don't hold me to account now. You should judge me on whether I deliver 2030. And when 2030 comes, it's too late. 44 years of rigged elections, and we are still being told that we should wait for 2030. And we accept that. That is what makes it so pathetic.
Well,
Whether you want to read some
next
of the
comment.
comments.
You've got the comments. I think I'm gonna put them on the screen.
Yeah, I don't know whether you want to read some of the comments yourself and comment on
Yes,
them.
sure. One is saying, asi mudzimu ya Mnangagwa ine simba kudarika mwari here naiwe. Somebody saying he almost celebrates his birthday very well. Okay. Anga aenda kuno dena ma spirits akazvinyararira zvawo. Richard Soko says, Simba, how are you feeling? Long time. Well, thank you very much, Richard. I'm now feeling a bit better. And we'll be back now and be doing these programs more often. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for remembering me. Usani Smada says, was ED in the helicopter? We are told that he wasn't in the helicopter, but it is his helicopter. It's not someone else's helicopter. He's not a brigadier Chaguti helicopter. It is him himself. Okay. Mwangu achitaura kuti hanzi Air Force helicopter. No, Air Force kwaniko. Iyi ndiye yake, nyorai kuti Mnangagwa helicopter. Nekuti ndeyake. Right, okay. Daughter of Zion says, asi vanhu hamuzi kungozvipa BP here naED. Vanhu muri kunze kweZimbabwe makadini mambotibatsira nekuita zvekunze nokuti zviri muno chaizvo hamuzvizivi, mungori nebitterness yenhamo dzenyu ikoko. Ana Wilbert.
Well, I think I want to give a quick comment on that one. I think it is the, very naive, to say the least, that you have no problems in Zimbabwe. The problems we were talking about of the roads having potholes, they affect you. The hospitals like Parenya Trust toilets not even functioning, they affect you. They don't affect those in the diaspora. So why you keep on thinking that somehow the people in the diaspora, should concentrate on their problems and you don't have any problems? I think it's being totally dishonest. And I think that is a problem that we have with some Zimbabweans. They fail to see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is whether you're in the diaspora or you're not, it affects all of us. If my relative right now is sick and they are in Harare, they go to Parenya to a hospital, they will find the same problems we are talking about here. Doesn't affect me, I'm outside the country, but that is my relative. So how can I say it doesn't affect me?
Here we are. Someone says Harare Chirundi Road is a death trap, a death sentence as it is. Paranato Hospital toilets were all built on Ian Smith. It's very sad to visit your relative in that state. Toilets all filthy and disgusting. Well, and the daughter of Zion says, when a person sees the negative, muno akadaro anonetsa kunzwisisa. My elections anorigo worldwide. Jackson Musari says, this daughter of Zion is puppet of Mnangagwa, and it shows that the person is not really Zimbabwean. Zimbabwe is full of aliens which are ruling it. Simba, how are you today? Long life. Thank you, Jackson Musari. I'm well, thank you very much. Yeah. Dr. Zan says, havane zvavanotenda zviri kuitwa here vanhu vari kutambura kwavari ikoko zvese kunonzi hapana chiri kuitwa muZimbabwe, unotoshaya kuti chavanoda chii. Okay, right. Hanzi hamunowo zvamunotenda, hapana kana chinhu one here Wilbert chamunotendawo, like what Auxilia was saying to me. If you check there, hauna here kana chinhu one Simba chikanza unogara uchingondituka unondituka chikanza pano here
Well,
kana chinhu one chauri kuonawo ipapapa.
I think the answer I would like to give is the answer that I don't know whether I remember the movie about what's his name, the black South African, Steve
Right.
Biko. Steve Biko. In it,
Yes.
in the movie Cry Freedom, the answer he gave was, when the whites say, well, "Are you saying that the whites have not done anything good?" Yes, I can. There are things that you have done that is good, but they have also done an overwhelming things that are bad. When you're talking of a country that should really be Zimbabwe, by if we had good leadership, Zimbabwe should today be the South Korea of Africa in terms of development, at peace, prosperous. And yet we are one of the poorest countries. Over 49% of our people are living in abject poverty. And then the same person who is looting hand over fist the country's wealth turns around and say, "Oh, can't you find something good I'm doing?" Yeah, whatever good you're doing is insignificant compared to the bad things you're doing. You want me to praise you for rigging elections? Is that what you want to do? 44 years of rigged elections. This is why we are where we are now. You want us to praise you for building the Harare to Mount Hamden motorway and neglecting all the roads and all the infrastructure we inherited at independence. That's pathetic. I think this is typical of people who really have no idea of how much other people are suffering and they don't care. All they care about is themselves. That is really my answer to that one.
Wow, let's end with this one, Wilbert. Daughter of Zion once again says, "You guys are way too bitter. Itai muchidzoka kumusha muchiona kuti zvimiresi munonyanya kushora nepamwe pasingadi." Hanzi kwai dzokai kumusha.
I think in this day and age, with all the technology that you and me right now, even if we get off the line here, we can be talking to somebody in Mashingo or Bulawayo or Harare as if we are there. I don't think there's anything that anyone who is in Zimbabwe right now can tell me they know better than somebody else who is outside that country in this day and age. That is just ridiculous. And this is the excuse that some people tend to think. Are you trying to say, to suggest here that those people who are in Zimbabwe right now, they are gloriously happy? The only people who are complaining about what is happening in Zimbabwe are those who are outside? How pathetic. You seriously believe the people in the rural areas who struggling. Life is a struggle for people in Zimbabwe, particularly in the rural areas. They are gloriously happy just because they don't have the opportunity to express their views. I think those are some of the comments, but that one can only say it is a pity that we have got some people with that mentality who do not want to see the reality.
Well, here we are. Here we are, Viaswin. It says it is confirmed, just as we end tonight. It is confirmed. The chopper that crashed today does not belong to any other than Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa himself, the man who is meant to be the commander in chief of the defense forces. It is a chopper, and I'm going to correct myself there. It is a chopper that Mnangagwa uses, and it is a chopper that he has used before. And on the video, we have posted here pictures of the very, very same chopper before. There, Mnangagwa with the Weekne Chivayo there. There, Mnangagwa with the apostolates. There is the jet. There is Mnangagwa disembarking, the same model. And then now, the very same model is on the ground. Various sides of it, as you can see, those who are watching on video. And those who are on Twitter Space, you may just want to just check on the portal. There's a video stream running right now, and you can actually see the chopper on the ground. Nick Mangwana called it an incident. Wilbert, Nick Mangwana said this is just an incident and it is being investigated by the Civil Aviation Authority. What do you say to that? Jelas Mawarire was riled. He was saying, how on earth do you call it an incident? Mawarire claims that no, this is beyond an incident. This is actually an accident. What's the difference? And is there any difference, Wilbert? Or both these two gentlemen are just confusing each other and just trying to score points on language?
Well, I think
Is there a difference between accident and incident
well, I think
in this context?
yeah, I mean, in this particular case, I totally agree. We should not be obsessed with semantics. What is an accident? What is an incident? I would tend to believe that an incident is something that, okay, is something that should not have happened, but it's not serious. But when a helicopter crashes, this is, even if no one was injured, this is a piece of kit worth millions of dollars. I don't think you're going to get much out of that. That is a major thing. So to call it an incident, I think it's just somebody trying to play around with words. Uh, yes, maybe to Mnangagwa himself, because he has got billions, this is nothing. But to a country like Zimbabwe, where every dollar counts, this is a major thing. It is an accident, period. And I don't know whether he found out whether anybody was in it, including the pilot, died. And if anybody was seriously injured, how can you still call it an incident?
Well, Wilbert, we're going to need to be shutting shortly. Our viewers and listeners, here is our briefer tonight. If though you're watching right now, I can see over 1,000 people are on the stream very late in the night. Unfortunately, we're going to have to cut the stream here. It's just been a short session, just covering and commenting over what has happened yonder in Mashingo, which is the crashing of the helicopter that is and that belongs to, or excuse me, that is run by Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa, the head of state in courts. And this helicopter, contrary to previous reports that were made by various news outlets, does not and is not the one that belongs to, that is a mere Air Force helicopter. It is actually Mnangagwa's own. And there were two helicopters there. This is one of them, but this is the one that was going to pick up Mnangagwa in just about 100 kilometers, over 100 kilometers from Mashingo, so that it can fly him back to the capital city, Harare. Wilbert, we're going to need to shut. Thank you so much for the time. Let's get back to the desk. And I think maybe shortly after we can discuss the news. Timbo ongorora kuti news dzakamira sei pa early morning panapa, Wilbert.
Okay, thanks very much, Simba. And thank you very much to the listeners who were able to join us tonight.
Oh, thank you, sir. And we're just as we shut our viewers, ministers, we're posting the link here. Nick Mangwana says chopper crash, just an incident.
Did you find out whether somebody was injured? I mean, surely.
You know what? There's a bit of there's a little bit so far. There's a little bit of a secrecy around it. I believe there were people who were injured, but they it's just that
Yeah.
unfortunately, because of the nature of who
From the
it's
side
about.
there, it looks like it wasn't very far. It had not flown very far. So for helicopters, yes, of course they can land safely if they, but for it to land on its side like that, it could mean somebody was injured. That was what I was trying to get at.
Or it also means that there's something seriously wrong there.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
You should
Do you
be
think?
able.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, even if you find you're having engine failures, because you're not so high up in the sky, your height. If you've just taken off, for instance, you should be able to bring it down, although it may be a bit bumpy, but nonetheless, bring it down so that it lands not land on its side like what has happened here.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous, because depending on the velocity that it landed, right? That if assuming that was that's a very serious one, Wilbert, right? It's like as if it's like a car crash.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in this particular case, my guess would be probably it had not been flying very high and very fast. That's why it didn't break up into even smaller pieces, and also where it landed, it looks like in the first picture there, what looks like a tarmac, which would be probably where it wanted to land. I don't know. Hopefully it wasn't flying fast. So let's hope anyway that no one was seriously injured.
Well, here we are. We are just putting this out of viewers' witnesses so that we can follow through the story. And someone is saying, luckily it didn't catch fire. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Likely, hapana kuzoita moto. Dengeta moto, that would have been another level.
That's true. Yeah, that's another thing as well.
Wow. Wilbert, we are now shutting our viewers' witnesses. I know people here are already gathered here. People are congregated here. People want us to talk. But it's very late in the night. We will be back, and we'll be back analyzing this. And to those who are coming late, just to recap, the chopper that crashed today is not a mere chopper. It is actually Mnangagwa's own chopper, that is the presidential chopper. It's not just a mere Air Force chopper, as has been previously reported. It is a chopper that belongs to, or that is run by ED himself. So this is not a small development, our viewers, readers, and listeners. And we shall be shutting shortly. And let me just quickly pull up and so that we follow this through. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Nick Mangwana says ED chopper crash, just an incident, but evidence shows disaster. Okay, so here we go. Click the link. Click the link, and let's get your. Let us get your feedback on this, our viewers, readers, and listeners. Right. Okay. Shall we be shutting now? Thank you very much, Wilbert.
Thank you very much, Simba, and those who were able to join us. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, folks. Here we are. To those who came late, you'll be able to rewind the stream.
This is Zemi Media, broadcasting all around the world, on the spot, on the dot. So this is case number 26 out of the refunds, and we're just hearing this morning that a refund has been made. Have you found it?
Are you from Northampton? Hi.
How many years have you waited?
3 years.
3 years? And how does it feel?
I'm so happy.
Yeah?
I'm so happy. And thank you very much, Simba, for all your help. Thank you so much.
Wow. And you found the reference now. Thank you.
Yes, I did.
How much more is left?
About 45,000.
45,000 is left.
Yeah.
So far they refunded? How much?
About 3,000.
3,000. And that's what you had deposited transferred into her account?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Right. Well, what's your message to other women who are still to get their refunds?
Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. Don't lose hope. And listen to Simba, please. And Budi Ezra. Listen and follow all their instructions. We'll get victory.
Wow.
The descendants of the great pharaohs are clearly now rising to take over the world. The Americans have CNN, the British, BBC, the Asians have Al Jazeera, the Germans have DW. Where is the great Pharaoh's own news network? Where's the great Eagle's Eye? It is here. It has come alive, finally. And even now, as I look at this instant reversal previously impossible, I know that this is just the beginning. There is clearly so much more in store for us if we were willing to invest in ourselves. Let's invest in Zimai, our own network, the Black Pharaoh's News Network, the People's Eye, the Zimai.
So this is case number 26 out of the refunds, and we're just hearing this morning that a refund has been made. Have you found it?
Are you from Northampton?
How many years have you waited?
3 years.
3 years. And how does it feel?
I'm so happy.
Yeah?
I'm so happy. And thank you very much, Simba, for all your help. Thank you so much.
Wow. And you found the reference now. Thank
Yes,
you.
I did.
How much more is left?
About 45,000.
45,000 is left.
Yeah.
So far they refunded? How much?
About 3,000.
3,000. And that's what you had deposited transferred into her account?
Yeah.
Right. Wow. What's your message to other women who are still to get their refunds?
Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. Don't lose hope. And listen to Simba, please. And Bud Ezra. Listen and follow all their instructions. We'll get victory.
Wow.
The descendants of the great pharaohs are clearly now rising to take over the world. The Americans have CNN, the British, BBC, the Asians have Al Jazeera, the Germans have DW. Where is the great Pharaoh's own news network? Where's the great Eagle's Eye? It is here. It has come alive, finally. And even now, as I look at this instant reversal previously impossible, I know that this is just the beginning. There is clearly so much more in store for us if we were willing to invest in ourselves. Let's invest in Zimai, our own network, the Black Pharaoh's News Network, the People's Eye, the Zimai.
This is Zimai Media, broadcasting all round the world, on the spot, on the dot. This is Zimai Media, broadcasting all round the world, on the spot, on the dot. This is Zimai Media, broadcasting all round the world, on the spot, on the dot.